The fascinating thing about North Carolina was that many of the eastern counties that depended on that farm labor saw a trend of farmers moving, or farm workers moving into other areas. In North Carolina, as many of you know, we have metro areas like Raleigh, like the Triad, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and then Charlotte, the banking area. Second to the Chinese Americans, the Latinos, as an ethnicity, is the most metro ethnic group in the United States. It is so that those are the markets that are growing the fastest in terms of the Hispanic population, and that's the highest density. But we also see many Latinos in many other counties in North Carolina doing Christmas trees, apple orchards, crab pickers in the coast, tobacco farms. But then they move into other industries like construction, service. To this day, I mentioned that we had 77,000 Latinos in the 90s. Today, we have close to 650,000, 2006 estimates. In 2000, not only the Hispanic community grew exponentially, we were able to get another congregational seat, the 13th seat in this area where I am now, the area of Greensboro, north of Raleigh. So we have 13 seats in Congress, and we actually beat Utah, who happens to be one of the states with the fastest growing population in the last 10 years. But we were the number one, and that gave us an opportunity to have another voice in Congress. The last part of my talk has to do with what happened if we really have had these 4 pillars or criteria to accept, or people choosing to come to our state, and I describe a little bit of what happened in the economy. What happened that we have a population of people that are Hispanic that happen to be undocumented? You will hear in this series, and there will be other people that can speak about this better than I can, an attorney talking specifically about issues of immigration. One of the biggest problems we have faced in North Carolina is the fact that the federal government of the United States have not acted in addressing some of the economic realities that we have had. This demand and supply, this growth of a population that satisfy the needs of the agricultural industry, the service industry, and the hotel industry, has not necessarily received the opportunity to get visas. I talk about a visa that was not necessarily a visa for an immigrant. It was a visa for a guest worker that would be here temporarily and go back. But many people that have followed the path of coming for economic opportunity and then follow this other path of family reunification, especially bringing kids and spouses and grandparents, have not necessarily been able to acquire legally a visa, or employers have not been able to sponsor these workers because they don't have certain other elements that we in this country need to have for immigrants to be here legally. So we have increased the population of undocumented. Today, the estimates of the Pew Hispanic Research tells us that we may very well have close to 50% or 45% of the population working in North Carolina could very well be undocumented. For us to get to a point of resolving our security issues as well as having workers that can be protected and work here legally, we have to have Congress acting. In the meantime, some things have happened, and I'm talking about 4 issues that have certainly affected us in our everyday life. During my years at the governor's office, during 1997 to 2004, we went from using a driver's license as a way of providing people with drivers that can learn the rules and get insurance liability to drive on the streets. We have removed that privilege for people that are undocumented. And unfortunately, we have a lot of people that are driving on the streets that are not able to identify themselves, or that many people like me would be liable if in cases when we have problems with these folks, and even if we are the ones that caused the accident, we have seen a lot of cases of hit and run. Second, and one of the most important difficulties we have had, is this decision of what we do with these kids that we have not penalized and given them an opportunity to study in the school system. But when they finish in North Carolina schools and they happen to be successful, we do not give them access to higher education. And again, Congress needs to act, and there is a bill that has been looked at, the DREAM Act, and has not passed, that would give those kids an opportunity to go to universities of North Carolina, pay in-state tuition, but also adjust their status, and somebody will be speaking more to that fact. The third issue that I think we see as a big problem is recently we have had a high number of raids and activity, sheriffs being deputized to do enforcement of immigration law, and a lot of profiling going on. Many people have actually been victimized. Many people obviously have been separated from their families after being here for many years. And so we have tried to deal with those issues locally. And the truth is that without immigration reform, we are going to have an underground, disfranchised community that needs to be dealt with. And so that's what happens right here in our backyard. And eventually, even though after this presidential election, the growth of the Latino voters, citizens, and legal permanent residents that have an interest in serving this country has increased, we still have a disfranchised community that needs more of our help and to make sure that Congress acts and make a decision of what will be the selection criteria and how we handle the issue of security. And that's about as much as I will contribute to this presentation, and I thank you for your time and to listen to us, and let us come to your homes. Thank you.